What's going on, everybody? This is TonyTorques here. Today I'm working on a 2006 Chrysler 300. In this video I'm going to show you how to change out the serpentine belt as well as the tensioner pulley. This vehicle, the customer stated that it was making a whining noise or squeak. I started his vehicle. Once it's warm, you could hear a pretty loud squeak here and there, and it's intermittent. So I'm thinking that it's either going to be the belt or one of these pulleys. But since it's not a constant noise, I'm thinking it's probably the tensioner pulley. You could hear the noise coming from here, this area. This belt also has some cracks on it, so we're going to go ahead and replace it while we're there. So I'm going to remove the belt and then show you guys how to test each of these pulleys so they can determine which is the one that's causing the noise. So let's get to it. For this job, you'll need a serpentine belt tool. You technically don't really need it, but it does make it a lot easier to get some leverage on this tensioner pulley. The tool will go right here, see that square? And it's a 3/8 square. So you could also use a 3/8 ratchet if you don't have this tool with you or if you don't want to rent it. It makes it a little tougher, but it is doable with the ratchet. I picked up this tool from AutoZone, that's the part number. They also rent these out over at O'Reilly's, so it'll make it a lot easier. Once you have the tool inserted in the 3/8 location, all you have to do is pull forward or clockwise and see that tensioner, how it moves. This will loosen up the tension on the belt, and then you should be able to just grab it from any area, ideally by that idler pulley right underneath the holes right there, and that'll be a good spot to remove the belt. With the belt removed, all you have to do to test these pulleys is hold on to it, give it a good spin. You should be able to hear no noise at all, just like this one. That means it's good. You can do that to all these pulleys here. Wiggle them around, see if there's any play. This one feels pretty tight, it's good. The AC compressor also spins on bearings, and it free spins, so this could also go out and cause noise. But in this case, this one sounds good as well. So that leaves us with this tensioner pulley here. If you listen to the sound, hear that? It has some play. But as you can hear that, the bearings in there are most likely rusted and causing that noise. So sometimes it won't make any noise, but once it warms up, starts spinning for a while, you know, steel expands. So then this will cause the noise to squeal or make a louder noise. So I think we determined our cause. Looks like it's the tensioner pulley causing this noise. So we're going to go ahead and replace the belt while we're at it. This one's starting to crack on here. You know your belt is bad once it has these cracks like that. That's when you should replace it. Or sometimes you might as well replace it while you're here, because I mean, if you have to remove it anyways, you might as well. Belts should be replaced at least every 3 to 5 years. From what I've heard, it's been around, it should be around a 45,000 mile to 60,000 mile range. So now stop by the parts store, pick up the parts we need, and we'll get this done as soon as possible. Since the tensioner pulley is making noise, we'll go ahead and replace that pulley. To do that, we need to remove the tensioner. Go ahead and remove this bolt right here. Here is the removed tensioner. I'm going to let you guys hear this sound. You can clearly hear that this pulley is wore out. Hear that? Hear that squeal? So imagine that spinning at high RPMs. That would definitely cause a noise. Easy way to remove that tensioner pulley is to place it on the floor like so, hold it with one hand, and then pull down on here with a 13mm, and that'll easily loosen it up. Whenever you're changing out these pulleys, remember to remove things in order. That way you make sure everything goes back exactly how it was. All that rust. Now if you look at the new pulley, looking at this Gates pulley, part number 36313, you can see how this one has that flat side here, and it has that like shaped side. So the flat side came out this way, therefore it should go back this way. Always hand tighten bolts first before you tighten them down with the tool. This will prevent you from stripping the bolt and threads. Much better. As you can hear, there is no noise, which is great. Tensioner assemblies, there's that divot. See this guy here? There's also a divot on its mount side. This just ensures that this tensioner goes on one way only, so you can't mess it up. We're now ready to reinstall the new belt. Here's the part number, just to make it a little easier for you guys. With the belt ready and routed and the tensioner tool in its proper place, I'm going to use the alternator pulley as its meeting point, since there's nothing really around it. So I feel like this would be the easiest way to put the belt back on. Usually you want to use the smooth idler pulley, but this one doesn't have a smooth idler pulley, as I grooved one right next to the tensioner. But there is not very much room there, and it's pretty hard to try to get it on that way. But since this alternator pulley is by itself and you can kind of move it around, I think this would be the best place to reinstall the belt once you turn it clockwise. I was correct. Using the alternator pulley, it is the easiest way to reinstall this belt. You can do it with one hand. As you're pulling that tensioner, clockwise, you can use your fingers to get this belt barely around the pulley, and then using the flat part of your palm, place it against the pulley and push forward as you're pulling on the tensioner with your other hand. By doing this, the belt will easily pop right on there, so there's just enough room. And as you can see, our belt is nice and routed, everything's nice and tight. Make sure to look at all the grooves, make sure everything is aligned before you start the vehicle. And right now, you hear that? Something was misaligned, but looks like everything's good now. Yep, everything's around the pulley. This one's well within the grooves. See a harmonic balancer. Yeah, everything's looking well routed. Tensioner belt's right evenly between both sides. Idler's good. And then alternator, yep, it's well within the grooves. So we should be all done with this. As you can see, this is not a very tough job. This is very easy, requires minimal removal. And well, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. And I'm dedicated to making quick, simple videos, and I appreciate your guys' support. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for more.